Join the Power Trip's Corey Cove at the grand opening of Play It Again Sports in Maple Grove tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Shop their inventory of new and used sport and fitness equipment or bring yours in and get paid. Make sure to follow Play It Again Sports Maple Grove on Instagram and Facebook for all the details, or head over to KFAN.com keyword calendar.
You excited for the game this weekend?
I am, yeah.
Why?
I love going to that stadium. Like every time I go in there for a game, the whole day is like it's like a celebratory experience for me. What's wrong? My mic is...
I don't know. Sounds like we have a weird microphone situation.
Yeah, it's also a thing when he's in our studios as well. He's not quite microphone trained, to be honest with you. Now,
he has to be microphone trained. He has a podcast.
Well, correct, and he sounds great on the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is available wherever you get podcasts. And what is it called?
The Alec Lewis Show.
And it's terrific. And so check that out and subscribe today. But we got to focus directly into the microphone here.
Someone commented on my podcast, and they're like, "Can you move the mic?"
Get right on the mic like this, okay? Just do it real quick.
Well, I don't need to be kissing the mic. It's not.
I ain't kissing the mic. I'm back here, okay? But, I've done this for years.
You have. That
sounds better. Oh, now we're starting to sound better.
Yeah, no, I feel... You guys are making me all worried now.
Why are you blushing?
Usually it's the Nordo's 9 that gets me. I texted you...
Damn it, I forgot Nordo's 9.
I texted you yesterday... yesterday was a terrible day in the life of Alec Lewis, which no one listening cares about. But you texted me, you made me smile last night. It was good, but I really needed to get in here with you guys.
Okay.
And then I get in here, and you're mad at me about the mic.
We're not mad at you. It just you sound differently than you normally sound.
True.
Okay, our lives are predicated on sound. We know here's the deal. If we need to know the past performances of Greg McElroy or Joe Namath, we'll talk to you or your dad.
Appreciate it.
Elite Alabama Crimson Tide football minds. When it comes to the sound in the TCO studio, that's Nordo 1, me 1A, and I'm just saying I think you sound a little different. And good morning.
Hey, good morning. No, I mean I hope I sound better. I mean now I'm all worried. My neck's going to be stiff walking out of here because I'm afraid.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, nice. Appreciate it. You know we're on the air.
I do, but I also know you're wound up.
I'm excited to be with you guys. What do you want me to say?
That's awesome.
You're asking me about the game.
Yeah.
I love sitting there and the banter and the food that comes with it and the environment and watching Jalen Redmond rush the passer. I mean, what else in life could you really want?
You're doubting Jalen Redmond.
Well, he got thrown out of practice yesterday.
Wow.
There was a little scuffle at the end, which I got to be honest.
Between who?
It was Jalen Redmond and maybe some other offensive lineman that I don't know the name of, but then I saw Ivan Pace in the middle. I just have to tell you, I like the energy of that. Yeah. I know the guys get thrown out. We want to be fighting. We got installs to run through and all that stuff, but I have felt like being out here at practice, we need some, there was the day Asamoah crashed into Johnny Munt, and while I was like, yeah, what's he doing?
Munt threw the ball at him.
Yeah, and I was like, this is ridiculous, but also there's life. There have been times, sometimes there's slow country music playing out here. I'm like, can we get some Drake? Can we get some Kendrick Lamar?
When is there ever slow country?
There was. I promise you. They were playing Jason Aldean, Take It Easy on Me, and I'm like, what are we doing? Jay-Z should be blaring on the speaker.
Every practice I walk into, I feel like I'm rolling down the street with YA, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, and I'm laid back. Every single practice. And that's fine because I like all genres of music, but I see what you're saying with the slow country vibe.
There was one day where it was Eric Church and I'm just guys, we're about to go hit somebody, not me.
Yeah.
I couldn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't really
what do you
know.
have against Tranquility and Serenity?
I love Tranquility and Serenity. On the drive over here, I'm listening to John Mayer. That's tranquility.
No, I'm not talking about the Tranquility and Serenity you compensate down the street from your house at Rick's. I'm talking about...
I don't know what you're saying, and Nordo's laughing, and I'm nervous about the microphone. I mean, this is absurd.
Based on where he lives, that'd be a short Uber, but the point remains.
Geez. I think I know what you're talking about with that place, but I don't know how. See, like,
hi, my name's Serenity.
You invoke that in the radio.
My name's Serenity. 11? It's my friend Lolita in Tanqueray. Where do you live?
I mean, I think we're on the air, but I don't know.
Yeah,
and
that's
good
fine. And Alec Lewis covers the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic and theathletic.com. You don't? What,
no,
did you shift to the redzone.org? Are they paying more or something? Okay.
No.
Stathead? Are you running Stathead?
No.
At Alec _Lewis via the tweet machine. And that's where you can learn more about his podcast. And unless I missed one, and I haven't listened to this one yet, I have all your albums. Nate Tice, somebody I've known since he was little Nate Tice. Adriana, his sister, was quite accomplished at track in Edina. So I've known the Tice family since when I started, Mike Tice was the coach. And these were small children. And then Nate becomes a quarterback at Wisconsin, I believe.
Yeah, I think he went to UCF and then Wisconsin.
Okay. And he does podcasting work with The Athletic, right?
It was with The Athletic. Now he's at Yahoo Sports.
Okay. But he's a very smart film watching mind. And in fact, I haven't had him on 9 to noon enough because every time I have him on, he just breaks things down. Like there's this Cody Alexander cat who is sliding into my DMs. I met him at the Combine at the Courtney Cronin, that private Monday evening thing. And he explained what he did. I didn't really understand it. But then all of a sudden I'm reading about players who are like permitted by teams to watch film with him. I think that's him.
Yeah.
Not oversharing what the scheme is, but yeah, we respect what this guy does. And he sent me something to my direct messages yesterday that I would assume he not only wants me to watch, but, maybe come on the radio and talk about. And I think Justin Jefferson might have been number 1 in the rankings, and that's why.
Yeah, he's working with a company that does data analytics, and they're doing some pretty high level stuff. But Cody Alexander, for the people listening who probably have no idea, he was a longtime coach in Texas. He coached at Baylor with I think Phil Snow.
Field Vision Sports.
Yeah, and then he became a high school coach. And he occupies a very interesting space where he has a website called Match Quarters that a lot of defensive coaches in college and the NFL respect. And then he got facilitated with Caleb Evans this offseason, the Vikings cornerback, and they watched film together. And Cody was very integral in, I think, trying to help Caleb develop in terms of like what tendencies do I need to look for? How should I think about coverage in the macro? So yeah, you would enjoy having him on. He can go as deep football. He'll be talking and 3x1 with the tricks on the backside and I'm like, and I just write.
Outside of Michael Lombardi starting 9 to noon tomorrow, we're naked. So therefore, getting Cody on the radio tomorrow, I think, is a probability. He's very intriguing with the way he lays things out. And he has coach cred. Unlike, a lot of people who run a lot of analytical type sites, they don't get immediate coach cred. He does. And that matters to me. But with Nate Tice, on your podcast, what are some things that he shared that, bam, just quick twitch resonate?
Yeah, I mean, his opinions on Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy, as I guess in this market right now with Vikings conversation, talking about those guys usually resonates. I think you guys probably can agree with. But just his feeling about Sam, like he really likes Sam Darnold. He likes the attributes that Sam has had and traits he's had for a long time. And then J.J. McCarthy, it just sounded like he really does feel like the fit here with Kevin O'Connell and the offense they run is a really nice fit. And you could tell, listen to him, that he was impressed watching JJ in person. Nate was here last week, so he got to talk to a bunch of people in the building. And so I had a lot of fun with them doing that. Mm-hmm. And like to your point, he's a former college quarterback. And for as much as I've studied the game, as much as I've talked to people to try to figure out as best I can how to analyze and evaluate, like there is just a different deal for people who have been in it and learned it and run offenses and understand the schemes at a level that he does. So it was really fun.
Sweet.
Is there an element of that where, because as I've been trying to break down what I think of J.J. McCarthy, we get really excited when we see those plays of him evading pressure and he's running to the sideline, he's throwing off platform and he's going in some ways almost across the body. He's made some plays. But how do you analyze it versus just Then there's this play where he just drops back 3 steps. He's in the pocket, looks good, reads it, and goes. I mean, there's a flashiness element to it, but I'm still curious in terms of how he's sitting down with Kevin O'Connell and ultimately breaking it down. Did you have to flush out of the pocket because you missed a read?
Yeah.
Did this thing happen actually because you're still learning and it forced you to be athletic, and that's super cool? But ultimately, it's kind of like Dobbs in a rushing touchdown. Well, KOC's like, Hawkinson was right there, dude. Like, that's cool that you made magic, but you could have made your life a whole lot easier. I'm curious ultimately what I'm reading into in terms of enjoying the flashes, but how well he's coming along, which I think is another thing we're looking forward to on Saturday.
Yeah, when I've watched him, I want to see the stay in the pocket, and I'm usually watching his eyes as best as I can see it from the sideline. Like, is he looking right? And then is he resetting a little bit to the left and then resetting again a little bit to the left and watching him go through his reads? Like, that is the mic messed up? I mean, I'm getting up.
No, keep doing your thing.
No, you sound great.
Okay, good.
You sound like Barry White. Never sounded better.
But that is, when I'm watching JJ, that is what I'm seeking is, can he sit in the pocket with bullets flying at him and go through the reads both with his eyes and his feet tied together? And that is like a cliche that Kevin uses all the time. We want to tie the feet in the eyes and all that stuff. But no, I mean, you mentioned it. Watching JJ, hopefully this Saturday and into the rest of the preseason against Cleveland, like I'm ecstatic.
Which JJ?
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
I'm ecstatic to do that, and I've said it on this at radio with you guys in past weeks, but I have been very impressed, and he has impressed me more than I came into training camp believing what he would be. You guys are giving me the most wild looks ever with the microphone.
Nordo's making plays.
Yeah, and this is kind of the theater of the mind with the radio thing.
Yeah.
When you're answering the question and giving us the in-depth, 100% I'm listening, but let me move around a little bit without you doing the play-by-play of that.
100%.
Well, you got.
If it's okay with you, please.
Why are your glasses fogging?
There's just so much going on. People can't see it. As I'm talking, Nordo's in every nook and cranny working on the audio and all this stuff. Anyway,
you hear how different that sounds when my mic's off?
But back to JJ McCarthy, like I said, I have been very impressed the entire camp. Like Nordo mentioned, evaluating him, and yesterday, while there was a lot going on, there were a couple like back-to-back reps where he just very quickly, one read to the right sideline, back over the middle, ripped it in there, tight window. Like when he throws the ball over the middle with the velocity that he has, it stands out. Like that's all. It's just the reality.
Do you absolutely? If it were a heaven or hell equation, and you got to be right, so you're either burning down here or there's glory here. Which way would you go? Heaven? Would you go yes or no for Sam Darnold starting week 1 against the Giants?
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So the heaven is what I would say.
Right. Well, I mean, you're at all these press conferences. You talk to people on the side and everything. Just follow me on this and tell me what you think. You know, it's O'Connell is part of a generation where they look at a lot of social media stuff. You know, they look at a lot of things on their free time. And I'm not saying he does this, okay, or McVay does it, or Kingsbury does it, or LaFleur does it.
They probably do it.
Okay, but there's just a lot, and I said it earlier. I said, look, I mean, I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out here, so I apologize, but like you, Gessling, Seifert, my radio show, like places people go where they know, they're not going to get something that is splashy just to be splashy. And the point is that whether it's the aggregators, gravy training hour work, or other entity.com bits that are just loud about McCarthy, first round pick, gotta start. 3rd year of a 4-year deal. Are you guys idiots? If you don't use him, you're both going to be out. You got to start thinking about I, not bye. And I just wonder, are you noticing, like, is that bugging anybody around here? It's so loud on social media about the kid.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not bugging them, because if you've paid attention to the media environment for 3 years, and social media, like, this is you can't control everything. I think that's part of the challenge is like a lot of these coaches, and even the ones who are as willing to work with whomever as possible, like these coaches want to have control over everything with
closer
practice.
To the mic, please.
They want to control everything with practice.
You're too close. Just kidding. Go ahead.
I'm freaking out. No, so what I would say is, yes, there's been a lot of noise on social media or whatever, but like, I would hope that internally inside these walls, as they would say, it is just, we're developing the way we want to develop. We evaluate this position and see things that people on the outside don't see. Like, that's just the reality. I can have a million conversations with assistant coach X, assistant coach Y, and they could give me tidbits, but I'm not I don't watch the practice film. I don't get the all 22 of that. There's a lot that we don't see, even as media members, and that we can't access. So for as much noise is out there and for as much as like the players in the locker room, I'm sure see that, read that, it's making people think different things at certain times. Like, who gives a dang? Internally, the situation. Focus on what it is internally, and you can't control every Twitter account, right, every media report, every whatever. And I would say the one way to control it is to be very explicit. This guy's starting here, and this guy. But I also understand why you wouldn't do that. If you want to evaluate, if you want to create competition, you can't be definitive in week 3 of training camp when there's so much time, there's so many checkpoints that still have to be crossed. So, yeah, I mean, maybe people internally have gotten frustrated with it. I do know that there are people in the building who, they're on Twitter, they see a lot of stuff. Like, that is what it is. This is 2024. Like, you knew that going in.
Well, so what happened to Tillery Dillery Doc? It sounds like somebody cleaned his clock.
He was, this was last Friday or Thursday or something.
KOC led his presser with it yesterday.
Well, Tillery goes down in like an offensive line, defensive line drill. And it looked terrible. And like Kevin came over and Harrison Phillips was like kneeling next to Jerry Tillery. It looked very serious. And then they brought a cart out. He didn't get on the cart, but he got on this golf cart and then rode off into the locker room. So as media members, we're like, man, that looked pretty serious. I don't know. Yeah. Like when a guy can't walk off the field on his own power, safe to assume that something's pretty serious going on. And then a couple days later, we found out that apparently Jerry Tillery had just been cleated. And then Kevin O'Connell yesterday, speaking on Tuesday, said that the cleat created some laceration that required stitches. So it sounded like fairly serious, but I think Kevin said they expect Jerry Tillery to be back soon. But, I mean, it's hard when you're on the practice field and a guy leaves on a golf cart without walking off on his own power. I mean, it's not like you're thinking the worst, but you're just using the context clues. Like, if a guy can't walk off, there's probably something wrong. In a day-to-day life, if you're at the grocery store and a guy can't walk, like and someone has to drive him out of the grocery store, you're probably pretty concerned. I don't know what that analogy is, but that's just what came to my mind.
He could walk when he came into the store, and then he looked at the price of groceries and lost all feeling in his legs and just toppled, and then he had to be helped. And then he's like, thanks for helping me, but the price of this rental car is so exorbitant, just drag me home. Well, how far is it? It's 2 miles. Do it. That's fine. I can't afford the groceries. Just drag me home. Okay? So that's where I think you were going.
But that was the Tillery. Yeah,
I just wanted to say Tillery Dillery Doc.
Yeah, that was the only reason you brought it. I was wondering, like, dang, I didn't really know we'd get a Jerry Tillery inside of this one.
Boy, do we have a doozy for you when we return. We have a doozy for you, and it involves the Las Vegas Raiders and the Athletic. And can't wait to share that around the corner with Alec Lewis. Covers the Minnesota Vikings, assumedly for profit, for The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. He's a teammate with a guest we had earlier. In fact, I got Dan Pompei's number from YA, and they work together. Likewise, Mike Sando and many others. It's at Alec_Lewis via Twitter, and we're going to chat about Vikings and Raiders. And I think we have a doozy for YA when we return to KFAN.
Charchian and the Fantasy Football Weekly crew at Treasure Island in the Full Deck Ballroom on Friday, August 16th from 6 to 9 p.m. for Fantasy Football Training Camp. Live broadcast starts at 6 p.m., followed by the Fantasy Football Deep Dive right after. Great prizes to be had, including a $1,000 grand prize, plus everyone in attendance will receive a $10 in free slot play and a $10 dining voucher. Get the full details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
How is Tashawn Reed these days?
I was texting him this morning, actually. Why?
Okay, well, because it's Monday. You know, I have all of the Athletics albums. Now, I read Pompey and Sando and you and Russo and Hayes and Krasinski. I mean, all the pertinents, the ones that matter the most, I read you guys all the time. And when it comes to adversarial updates, even on preseason weeks, I'm going to go to the Athletic first and the redzone.org for all the stories and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, I started with the Athletic on Monday and I searched Raiders and got into Tashawn Reed, who covers them. And I thought it was like Vic Tafur or
Vic Tafur. We have two Raiders writers.
Okay. Well, so I'm reading through this battle of capital L's between Minshew and O'Connell. There's a reason O'Connell has a lot of L's in his last name, because that's what they're seeing at practice, according to Antonio Pierce, the coach, where like they had one practice one day, they had 7 or 9 combined interceptions. So this Saturday at 3:00, they are going to split their quarterbacks. And it's like O'Connell gets this series and Minshew gets this one. And I think they might do it for quite some time in the game, reading between the lines. So with Tashawn, I'll call him T. Reed. We got a good vibe. I'm reading the totality and the balance of the story. And he just drops in there, as Antonio Pierce said, the Raiders are playing their starters. I got to reread. Like, what? Hello? This is Pierce's first preseason game as a head coach. All right. And obviously he played in the NFL and he was really good as a middle linebacker for the Giants. But I didn't go back and watch the Pierce press conference, where I assume this comes from a press conference. So I double checked it with San Jose Mercury. So somebody else wrote the same thing. So I'm like, damn. Okay. Devontae ain't playing. You know, I can't see them playing Devontae. But like Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Pierce, a defensive guy, wants to play his starters in this game. And I believe he will. So from that standpoint, what are you looking for Saturday from these guys if Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and whomever their other better players are outside of Brock Bowers, the rookie from Georgia, who they don't love in training camp? Just think Dallas Turner. Yeah. We're happy we have Dallas. Yes, he has a lot to learn. Yes, we think he's going to be a stud for many years. No, it's probably not here right now, but it will be. And hearing the same things from multiple people about the tight end from Georgia. But I mean, he's a handful, and if he plays, it's like a regular season moment. So what are we getting into this weekend?
Well, I mean, the question really then becomes like, is Sam Darnold going to play? And the way that
I don't see how Sam can't.
I mean, I would say that learning this system, the way, just listening to how Kirk Cousins talked about it in his first year here.
Covenant clap for Nardo for fixing the sound piece. Well done. Whatever you did, it's a lot better. Go ahead.
I would say just listen to Kirk his first year talk about learning the offense and the learning curve that was. Mm-hmm. I feel like Sam Darnold would benefit from playing in the game. But then the question becomes, well, then do the starting offensive line group play? Because they haven't in years past with Kevin O'Connell, but they are going to be the group with Sam Darnold likely come week 1. Mm-hmm. The way Brian O'Neill talked to you early this morning was almost like he was thinking about playing in a way that I mean, truth be told, I didn't really expect Brian O'Neill to be playing in this game, but the way he talked was interesting. So I mean, my mind goes to, if the starters from the Raiders are playing, then what does it look like if Sam Darnold is? I mean, that's great work for him. If it's not Sam Darnold and it is J.J. McCarthy,
but it's not great work for him if you're not playing requisite ones opposite this defense. If it's Crosby, Wilkins, and the rest of the Cats for a series or two, and with all due respect to Juergens starting center, be his debut, Walter Rouse playing right guard, Quessenberry left guard, and so on, you can't run close to what O'Connell will be running offensively against Crosby, Wilkins, and the rest of the Raiders front seven if it's their starters, which means the next layer is known as quick game, where when you pass, everything's fast. Everything's swing, dump, stuff like that. How much can Darnold truly get out of that in a game where, I can't see Jefferson playing. He's never played in a preseason game. Why would we start now? You see what I'm saying here? It's like if they're coming with their full thrust and you're not countering with your best, truly, how much can the quarterback benefit?
Well, if anything, you see the live speed that you would be seeing week one. So while you might not be able to go through your typical reads because you might not have the time, at least seeing how it looks in a live action, I think is good reps that you don't have out here. The other thing, and I don't mean to be rude here with Antonio Pierce, but I'm not totally sure he has, I don't know if he knows what he's doing fully. So,
so you think he might be lying?
No, he might play his starters, but I would ask, the whole Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, Gardner Minshew has actually accomplished stuff in this league.
Yeah.
The fact that that's even what do they think Aiden O'Connell's gonna? I'm not a hot take guy, but if I was on First Take, I'd be like, Aiden O'Connell, what do they think he's gonna ultimately be?
Okay, Minshew's had moments. Right, but Minshew's been, according to reports that I believe from people who I trust, he's been terrible.
Is that
but
because
he's gotten better a little bit, but now O'Connell's terrible.
But is he been terrible because of the receiving core? Has he been terrible because the offense doesn't fit him the way that Shane Steichens did? The report, this is why training camp is kind of ridiculous. You can evaluate, oh my God, the offense looked great. Does that mean the defense looked terrible? Oh, what a great route by Jay Sean Jones. Does that mean that Andrew Booth couldn't cover me out there? I don't really know. It's so hard to evaluate every little thing without flipping it on its head. I guess back to the original point about the Raiders, if they are playing Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, and the Vikings are playing Sam Darnold with Michael Juergens and Walter Rouse, then it's not going to be pretty. And there's part of me would wonder to your point, what is the productivity of that? What are you accomplishing out of that other than Sam just seeing live action? So we'll see. I haven't seen Sam Darnold really take snaps out here without the number one offensive line group. So to expect him in the game Saturday to be doing that, I'd be pretty surprised by that,
Great
which
point.
maybe means the starting offensive line group does play. And if that's the case, it would be kind of a departure, would be different. But I also... there hasn't been a ton of real physical, they would argue it probably, workout here. So to get that in live speed against Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, and that physical unit would be pretty cool and pretty solid. And I think for Sam, helpful come week one, a game against the team that you're going to need to beat in the Giants.
Well, it's kind of crazy too. You're talking about their number ones. And I think I look at it as if they wanted to get looks at their ones, it would be more on the offensive side maybe than the defensive side.
That's probably right.
Crosby and Wilkins don't necessarily need to prove themselves. But they're starting left tackle, Colton Miller, pup. Powers Johnson, their starting left guard, pup. They're not going to make Andrus Peat and Cody Whitehair take reps in a preseason game when they're each, I think, in their mid-30s. Let's transition a bit, though, with this game. We did it earlier in the show. Things that we're looking forward to see, whether it's a cornerback emerging, making a splash.
They got a cornerback named Woo Governor. No, I'm not kidding you. WOO Governor.
Woo Governor.
Governor is his Woo Governor.
Oh, they got Marcus Epps, too. Most underrated Vikings draft pick in NFL history.
Well, he starts. He was the one that knocked JJ into the hospital.
And he was with the Eagles and got some good run with Philly as well. But we were kind of playing that game earlier. Things that we want to look at in a game that doesn't count.
Who the hell is Woo Governor?
For a team that
seriously
that has a lot of questions from a depth standpoint. Is there anything that just immediately jumps out at you that's on Saturday, all things considered, topics, get out alive, get out healthy, be better, but something that you're excited to write about in The Athletic?
Yeah, watching J.J. McCarthy and potentially Sam Darnold is 1A. But besides that, I'm really looking forward, guys like Gabriel Murphy and Dwight McGlothern, those guys I want to see in live action on that turf. What they look like. Gabe Murphy, the undrafted edge rusher out of UCLA, has received rave reviews in the past couple weeks. And you can understand why. Like, he was really productive in college at UCLA, kind of like Ivan Pace. He was productive. There was some measurable stuff that made him drop. Brian Flores thought he'd be a fit. And, I mean, again, Kevin O'Connell has shouted him out in his presser. Brian Flores praised him, which he doesn't typically do with young guys, in his presser. So watching him rush the passer, even if it's against a Cody Whitehair, what have you, like, that's something I'm looking forward to. I want to see if they play man coverage, what that looks like. A lot of those young guys, the rookies, if Will Reichert's kicking, I want to see what that looks like.
Dallas Turner's going to get snaps, right?
Yeah. I would expect him to get snaps. He might even be on the kick return, kickoff stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. So, I mean, even watching him, like, I was watching him yesterday, and I have no concern about Dallas Turner. He accomplished a heck of a lot at Alabama. He's an athletic freak. I watched him yesterday, and he blew past, I don't know if it was Quessenberry or Walter Rouse, and made it look very easy. And that was the first time I'd really been watching him out here where I was like, okay, like, this guy athletically is on a different plane. But, the young guys is what I'll be looking forward to. And then kind of the bottom of the roster options. Like, I don't know if Lewis Cines going to play, but if he does, I just want to see what that's like. Not because I think it's really a factor. I'm curious because I haven't seen him play a ton defensively over time.
Alec Lewis, The Athletic, our final segment from the TCO studios, is next.
The Irish Fair of Minnesota is a 3-day cultural festival filled with all things Irish. Head over to our contest page for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to this family-friendly celebration of being Irish, held this Friday to Sunday on Harriet Island. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter.
You wrote about the pistol formation, which is the short shotgun with the running back markedly closer to the quarterback. I mean, elite football minds know what it is. I haven't read the story. Did anybody explain, like, what advantages you get out of the pistol formation, whether with the quarterback, play action, whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It allows you to run downhill like you'd be in the I formation, but then have your quarterback be like he's passing from the shotgun. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. It was something that the Rams lean into very heavily in the back half of last season. If Sean McVay does something, Kevin O'Connell's probably going to be attentive to that. One of the benefits for the Rams was they handed the ball off quicker to Kyron Williams, who is a very cerebral, football-aware guy who it gave him more time for reads, for cuts, and like Aaron Jones has had success with it in the past. Ty Chandler ran a lot from the shotgun in college. J.J. McCarthy used the pistol a lot last year at Michigan. So it's a very sensible kind of evolution, progression for this offense. I've seen it out here on the practice field. So I'd expect to see that formation much more than we've seen in Kevin O'Connell's time here.
And final thoughts with the game this weekend. Like if Sam Darnold plays and or starts, just a couple of quick things that you'll be looking for, no matter if it's Crosby and Wilkins, Crosby, Stills and Nash, John Lewis or whomever rushing him, or no matter how schematically sound Pierce wants to get in this game. Just like, what are you going to be looking for from Sam, the man on the fan?
Yeah, I think Antonio Pierce thinks he's coaching the Super Bowl, so someone should probably tell him that it's just the preseason first game. What I'm looking from Sam Darnold is does he look comfortable in the pocket, and then does he look comfortable going through his reads? I talked about it earlier, but like, are his eyes and his feet in the right spots? He has had the most success he had in his NFL career was pretty much in the back half of his time in Carolina with Ben McAdoo, who teaches quarterbacks and ties the rhythm, ties the feet to the eyes in a way that is similar to how Kevin O'Connell does. So really just, if he plays, it is accuracy down the field. It is not turning the ball over and just looking comfortable. I don't expect, if you don't look uncomfortable in the preseason game against the Super Bowl competitor Antonio Pierce fighting Raiders, then that would be kind of concerning. So that's what I'm looking for.
About ready to close the con.
Yeah, real quick twitch, Jaron Hall. How much run do you think he gets?
He might get some run, and he's looked pretty good going back to the spring. So, I think it would be very interesting at some point to have long conversation with him about what it has been like to be a year later in this system and what it is like to feel you're a year under your belt. I think that would be educational for me, for everybody on like JJ McCarthy a year from now, what that might feel like for him.
But already maybe feeling like there's another stop in his NFL career, right? I mean, for Jaron Hall.
Yeah, I mean, Jaron Hall's. I mean, he's the fourth quarterback right now.
He's got to find another spot.
Potentially, yeah, practice squad. I don't know. They like him. He's got a lot of respect, maturity in the room. So
what if he sabotages plays in the fourth quarter Saturday and starts unfurling KO's prime stuff?
Yeah, he's running dagger. Jaron, we didn't tell you. Why are you throwing?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Alec Lewis at Alec_Lewis via Twitter. Thank you, Max Fuller. Thank you, Nordo. And I'm Paul Allen. Back at it tomorrow with a heap of football conversation locally and nationally. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and thanks as always for listening to KFAN.
Today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.